All right, we're live now. We are live on YouTube. Um, so I'm going to give it a minute just to kind of, for people that want to join in, just kind of let them join in. I want to clear the air on something. Probably have an idea, but if you don't know, uh, yesterday I kind of put up a video. Got some slight feedback. Not a tech video. TJ's up. What's up, TJ? It was actually like I don't want to say a political view, but just like my view on that viral video, and then people were just kind of chiming in on their thoughts. And so I just want to kind of clear the air a little bit. It's lit. What's up, Jose? Chad. What's up, Tito? What's up, Chad? One of the hardest things to talk about is politics. I think it's right up there with religion. And that's just because everyone has different standpoints where they reside, where they resonate with. Before the elections, there was a few scopers from Periscope. One of them, which is they're pretty cool, is they go by the name of Rice and Spam. Their real names is Kama and Joanne. Really cool people, and they scope and they touch base with not just politics but just life in general. And throughout the whole thing between Hillary and Donald, they were doing these scopes where they were asking some really cool questions. One of them was if you were voting using logic or emotions, just really cool stuff. And then there's another scoper named Greg, who was also kind of going off on that. And can you guys pretty much say like this election just really was like at a heightened point? Because it was for me. I've never seen it this crazy, in a long time. People were, really emotionally invested in the candidates that they supported, and that's fine. Everyone has their right to believe, think, and do as they please. Eat ass, die fast. That's my motto. This election has been wild. Yeah, it has. But see, when I gave my thoughts about what happened to the gentleman in the car, the one that was beat by several guys and they took his car and stuff. Hello, sir. Hello, Daryl. I was conveying, what I felt, how my reaction to the video, what I felt deep inside. I basically opened up just how it affected me. And yes, for those that were curious, I did, how do I put it? I did have the video set up to where like comments weren't automatically added. So if you commented, I actually did get notified, took a look at it, read it, and then approved it. And the reason why is because I didn't want it to be affected or tainted by someone with the mindset to just come in and do what trolls do and just create nonsense out of it, especially with that being such a touchy subject. I just didn't want people arguing or anything like that. For those people that left, a comment that they really wanted to voice their opinions, obviously got approved. And so, the elephant in the room, were comments withheld? Yeah, they were. And, I did get a lot of trolls on there. I mean, and not just trolls, but I also got some people that were like very passionate about what they felt, so passionate in the fact that they wanted to threaten with some really weird stuff. It just got too far. So I wanted to clear the air a little bit. There's sides and people are picking sides nowadays. That's obviously true. I think Donald Trump is like Lord Voldemort. If you say his name, he gets more stronger. But people have their choices, who they wanted to vote for. And I think that's just kind of like what made me upset about that whole viral video was like, we as American citizens have the right to choose who we want in office, and we always don't get what we want. I mean, people will tell you the same when you look back when Obama was first voted in, and people will say the same when you look back when George W. Bush was elected. We don't always get what we want. I'm from San Diego, and there's actually riots in downtown. Yeah, I know. I see it on the news. There's riots in, I think, LA. There's riots in Chicago, in New York. There's riots, and I know people are upset. people are very upset. The thing about it is some of the riots, okay, like they haven't been, well, not riots but protests. Let me change that around real quick. Not the riots, but the protests haven't been so bad. Okay, from what they've been televising on the news, there's been people that's been pretty mild about their mannerisms, and for that, you gotta have respect right there. The riots is the thing that's kind of like annoying because it doesn't really achieve anything. People rioting, people acting in violence, people hurting other people because their candidate didn't win presidency is not gonna have Donald Trump look at the nation and say, I'm sorry for running, guys. I'm going to step down now. That's not gonna happen. Okay, what's actually happening is that businesses that are innocent, that have nothing to do with it, are being destroyed. People who are innocent that have nothing to do with it are being hurt. The thing with that video that made me so upset was the fact that, first of all, I mean, when they cut the video on to start recording, there was nothing given that proved that this guy was someone who voted for Trump. Like, not even him, like, in his car rolling down the window saying, F all Clinton supporters, I voted Trump. Nothing that would show any reason for that to even have happened. It starts off with 3 people beating on an elderly man, which is, to me, just downright pathetic. This guy's not even really fighting them back. He's dropping his smartphone and he's picking it back up because he's trying to keep his belongings. He's trying to stop the other guy from entering his car and going through his stuff. Like, that's just crazy, That's somebody's, like I said in my video, that's someone's dad. That's someone's grandfather, And then they actually got his car, and the video cuts when the car is about to take off. That's just disgusting. It's disgusting to see. And some people have hit me with this, well, Trump has said racist things and promoted violence and whatnot. And in no way am I saying that that's okay. There's wrongs on both sides. And people are reacting, very wrong in this day and age. This generation around is just wants to solve things too much with violence. Of course, you got the media that twists things and makes things much more worse, which is what the media always does. I mean, I can name you a handful of times where the media was involved in something that was so nationwide that it really twisted the very fabric of what we were understanding and changed it to something more drastic and exaggerated. And it's just sad. It really is. That the fact that they beat this man because of who he chose to vote basically shows me that the mentality is going towards this set where if you don't do what I want, I'm going to kick your butt. If you don't do what I want, I'm going to physically hurt you. And it's like, why? Even if he did voted for Trump, that man had every right to, just like those people who were beating on him that voted for Hillary had every right to vote for that. I mean, if the tables was turned, would it be right? Hell no. I wouldn't condone, 3 Trump supporters beating on someone that voted for Clinton. People have the right to choose who they feel is going to get the job done. Just like people have the right to speak what they feel, write what they feel, think the way that they want to think. Not one person should ever have governed that, and not a group of people should ever instill the fear in someone to not ever free think. That's what angers me the most. People have the right to free think however they want. If they feel that Trump is the best candidate and is going to do the great job, so be it. Let that person think that way. If Trump fails, that person would be wrong then, right? The same way or vice versa. I mean, this is just one of those things where it really shocked me that the presidency got that bad. That people got that involved in. And it also strikes me odd that, this time many people were involved and many people talked about it. And it was like in past times before, why weren't this much people involved in it then? Like when Bush was being voted into office, why weren't that much people involved in it then? Just crazy. To me, like, I feel like a lot of the panic from most Americans is the fact that this is a non-politician that has been voted as commander-in-chief, president of our country. So it's not the same old, political thinking from a guy. If Trump is president, I truly do believe believe will be president in 2020? Kanye? I don't know. I mean, honestly, that is one thing that some people have spoke about, and that I've thought about in my head when I came to realization that Trump is president. Is that Trump just basically kind of like opened the door? Like, you don't have to be a career politician to become president. I mean, of course, people that know throughout history of our presidents would know, like Ronald Reagan was an actor before he became president. So, but this generation wouldn't know that. This generation now, just those from like Bush Senior on down to Trump, which is now president elect. So I mean, when you think about it, there's going to be good and bad on either side. Either both sides had skeletons that people just people that had a heart and a way of thinking wouldn't condone, like some of the things that Trump has done, that the media has brought up, whether it be true or not. Average person wouldn't condone it, like grabbing a woman by her parts. The whole thing with the email server and everything like that with Hillary, it's like people want to cover that up, or they want to project how it wasn't anything classified. It really doesn't matter. The fact was that our national security was at stake, sort of. Just imagine if there was classified documents that was going through. And yes, there's been many articles written up about how governments from each nation hack each other to see what the other government is doing. I mean, that's no secret. Think about it. Trump was taken as a joke when he started out. No political background. No, I can already see a president movie starring Tom Hanks and Clint Eastwood. I hope Trump truly does want to help America, because at this point, we got to work together and make something work, whether we want them or not. Exactly. Well said. Well said. And that's really what we're at this point right now. We don't need to be attacking other people for who they voted for. We don't need to be acting like animals in a way. We need to come together. It's the same thing like I told several people that I know that were Clinton supporters. I told them that, yeah, the person that you voted for didn't get into office. And I understand, it sucks, it hurts. And then there's that fear factor, the fear factor of having a non-career politician in office. But if he doesn't work out in 4 years, use the same power that was used and vote and really vote and not get him in office. I mean, it's only a 4-year term. It's not like a permanent rule. Victoria Rose, hi. Hey, Vicky, how you doing? One of the things that upset me also that night too, when I made that video, there's a lot of things that was going through my head, but that whole thing of the Queen of England and what was said, whether her little speech to the United States about writing her name down on the ballot if you don't want to choose either one. We have to work together. We have to stop the hate. We have to make America great. Yeah, totally, RJ. But yeah, what the Queen of England said about write her name down, vote her to bring back the monarch that ran the colonies before the Revolutionary War, and that was like a big slap to the face. Even the fact of stating that our country's forefathers' dreams and ideas was a good one to start out with, but is ending badly. Like, how could you even say that? I mean, every country has their issues and has their problems. There's no perfect country that can lead by example, even though a lot of people feel like the United States should be that country that represents to the entire world of how a strong, unified nation should be. We have our own dark secrets, our own skeletons in our closet, and our own problems. Racism being for one of them. Nothing has really changed compared to the older days, except for the fact that people are I guess what they call silent racists, or they're not vocal about it, but they still do their little tidbits by like body motions, reactions, how they are towards someone. They can stand in the same elevator with a person that they dislike because of their nationality or whatever, but in their mind they're like completely cursing that person out. I mean, we still face problems like that. That's problems in this country that needs to be fixed. We need to come together as one. And it's not, I'm not trying to put out this whole thing of, some overly dramatic thing, but this is absolutely true, because my concern for me is the fear of my children growing up and what the future holds and how we're going to be. I mean, when you talk about things like BML, which got, got heated for some time, and even some people wanting to have the Black Lives Matters movements looked at as terrorists rather than, an activist group. I mean, that's how bad violence has become. And it just seems like in this generation, everything is solved with violence. If you don't agree with the same things that I'm talking about, I'm gonna start a riot, or me and my friends are gonna jump you and beat the crap out of you. Like, violence doesn't solve anything, and I would think that people would remember that phrase taught in school so many times, that violence doesn't solve anything, and it really doesn't. Yeah, saw that. Okay, I agree. Okay, cool. And that's why I made that video, basically expressing what I thought about those people jumping that man. It was just like, it was bad, but I think what made it even more worse too was the fact that there was people standing by, not doing a damn thing, not intervening, not trying to stop them. I mean, that's, I guess, what hurt the most, seeing that. I've been robbed at gunpoint. I've dealt with stuff like that. I know what that does mentally to your head. It changes you. It changes you. You have anger, you have fear set in, and those two things are a bad mix, because then it makes people paranoid and jumpy, and then they react differently to a scenario that would have been handled differently if the mindset was different. Your mind is very powerful. The way that your mind, how your mind perceives things can totally change the world in front of you. And not like, changing like a building from small to tall or anything like that, but the situations that you're in, how you perceive it, how your mind is processing it, depending on the mood. With fear, you tend to be jumpy and act more in this weird defensive way that, if you saw it from a different limelight, was totally harmless. And that's what's wrong with the picture. Luckily, because I kept researching it to see if these people were caught, if anything was done, if the guy was okay. No mention that the guy died, so luckily that this person didn't die, because then those people will be facing some pretty bad sentences, probably capital murder. This guy died. That was a very, very bad thing. But even though what they just did is classified, my opinion, as a hate crime, pretty much, and that's where it's sad. That's where I'm afraid that things are going to go. No one should have to hide who they chose to vote for on either side. And on either side, people that are acting violently should really stop, because it's not going to achieve anything. It's really not. So yeah, the things I said in the video, I really do strongly believe in. And, I had people comment and voice their opinions, and some really good dialogue. I understand people's point of views. I agree. Did you vote Trump? I did, for my reasons. And it's just, I don't know, it's just really sad. I just would hate to see anything else break out further than what it already is. I'm just hoping that this is probably like the last of it, and that it will die down little by little. Like, the anger will die down, people will calm down, and eventually it'll just be with words, with blogs, whatever, however people want to express how they feel. And from that point on, like, no more of these violent attacks or anything like that. And I figured, like, right now it's still fresh. It wasn't that long ago. Hasn't been a whole week. So let's just hope and pray that all the violence stops, because that's really the big issue there. It's not about really who's in office anymore. It's not about, what was it? Like, I remember one person commented back and said that to my video, hold on, read that person's comment. But it was kind of cool, what they said, but then at the same time too, it was just like kind of weird. So a person commented on the video and said, what about all the racist Trump supporters doing the same thing to blacks, Latinos, etc.? It's like, yeah, nothing's being condoned on either side. The violence in whole from both sides needs to stop. And then that's just also what I'm projecting with that. It's like, the violence is the major problem. The violence is the biggest thing that a lot of people are afraid of right now. kind of nuts, just seeing people's reactions, even in like where I live at, in this city, and I walk around, you just have this, you feel this tension with some people, not everybody. There are a lot of people that just pretty much went about their day, didn't really care, Yeah, it's like you said, we need to come together. Exactly. But then there were some people, you could see it in their mannerisms. Um, it's crazy. These people took this to heart really, really bad. And I understand, the idea behind all this, and I've been saying this on social media long before the actual election day, was technically with this election, people were choosing the lesser of two evils, the lesser of two devils, because neither one looked really, really good, 100% clear. But there was one that I resonated with more on some of the ideas that he had, and that's why I chose and voted that way. Plus, too, in my opinion, it's a different method. When we have career politicians coming in, they're always doing things the same way. I want to see what someone who is not a career politician do different, and that's why I swayed that way. Does it mean that some of the things that Hillary Clinton said are all wrong? No, there's things that she said that I agree with too. But it's just where it mattered most to me was on the Republican side, and that's where I went with it. But that doesn't make me a bad person. Like some people have called me racist. That doesn't make me racist. Which, I hate it when people go to that point. It's like they will give you an intellectual conversation back and forth, and then if they have no ground to stand on, you're a racist. That's not right. You don't call someone a racist unless they have really like put out that they are. Because there's some people that are brave enough to. Since Trump was running for presidency, there have been people that are undercover racists that become bold and decide to speak more, decide to say more than what they normally would. But I just dislike that fact that because I voted that way, it's like, oh, you're a racist. If they have nothing else to win me over to believe in the way that they believe, then I'm a racist. And that's not right either. I'm one of those types of people, like you don't call someone, a name or label them as something unless you got valid proof. Like it's factual to actually say that person is, just doing it out of anger is just idiotic, in my opinion. It really is. And I hate when people go to that. They always go to something like that. I think that we all need to take a breath and calm down. And everything, like how everyone's saying, everything will be okay. If he screws up, no one's going to vote for him for a second term. Let's see what the guy can do. He's in office now. Let's see. Because in every presidential run, I've looked at it like this. Everyone who's won as president can only deliver between 1% to 10% of what they say they're going to do. And to me, a president is like the face or the bullseye target for what government does. Because you got to remember, like the president doesn't make rules. He could draw up a bill. It still has to pass through Congress. Without Congress's support, he has nothing. If you look back at what happened with Obama and the whole government shutdown because they had disagreements on the whole Obamacare thing. And, one thing that was like really said that I thought was really interesting was when they said, don't blame the head, blame the body. So like all this stuff with Obamacare and everything that people solely peg Obama for, it's not only his fault. You got to look at Congress. You got to look at our House Senate. They all had a hand in it, but no one really goes after the body. It's always the head. And that's kind of like, probably being a president is the most shittiest job to ever have. Being a president, being the face that if things go right, you're applauded for. If things don't go right, you're hated. So we got to remember that too. So like for those Trump supporters who really think that Trump's going to do all these things, yeah, a president can only do so much. He can't really do everything by himself. He has Congress that he has to answer to. He's not an elected king. Okay, only a king can actually make rules that everyone underneath have to follow. This is not the type of system we have here. Okay, some of it has been twisted a little bit because technically, he's supposed to be the servant of the people. Like how some people have said that our government should be more like the government that they have in France. And it's not to say like we have to be exactly like the French, but just how the French government fears its people. I think is what they're trying to say is that our government should fear us, the people, not us fear the government. So it's 4 years that we have to deal with it. And if he does a good job, then we'll put him in for a second term. If he does a very crappy job, we'll get rid of him. But people don't need to act out in violence just because the person they chose didn't win. Hi, man. Christian, hey, that in itself is just wrong to even go that way. So I just wanted to clear the air on that last video, because this is probably the last thing you'll see on this channel about having anything to do with politics, because politics is a very touchy subject. People get angry. They say things that they don't mean. And that's another thing too, when people are so quick to say things about somebody else. I saw this thing on Facebook. It was actually really cool. And it was basically, hey, I'll have to watch your last video. Okay. But the thing about it was like this, this kid was angry, and I guess like the dad was telling the son, like, every time that you get angry, to help control your anger, go outside, take this nail and hammer a nail into the fence. And the kid does that every time that he's angry until he learns to control his anger. And it comes to a point where it's like the little things doesn't get him angry anymore. So then the dad told him to go back out to the fence and pull all those nails out. So the son does it. And the moral to it is that the dad took the son to the fence and he showed him, all the holes left from the nails. And then he told him, like, when you say things out of anger, it's just like driving a nail into the piece of wood. You can always say sorry, which is withdrawing the nail out. And you can be honestly sorry for the things you said, but it doesn't change the fact that you said it, and it does leave a scar, which is those holes in the fence. And that's the thing. Like, people right now are so emotional about the, Trump winning and Hillary not winning, and they're saying things to friends and some family members, and it's really gotten that bad. Their families are being torn apart because of this, and they forget the words you say. Even if like everything dies down, you're like, hey, look, I'm sorry I said this. I was just mad about who won presidency. It doesn't change the fact that you already said it, and it's causing more emotional scars in people. So that's something to also consider, why people should just calm down, take a deep breath. And it's only 4 years, and we're going to be okay. We survived. To some people who dislike Obama, we survived through him. 8 years. We survived 8 years through Bush. We're going to be okay. Yes, give the man a chance. He hasn't even said anything. Yeah. No, I've seen some crazy stuff. I've seen people posting, like things that happened like the past couple of days, and they're like, already, Trump's, president, and things are getting this bad with the budget and all the stuff, and people forget he hasn't been sworn in yet. So no, it's still under the Obama administration. His acceptance speech was nice. Actually, remember lots of people didn't want Obama in. Yeah. People didn't want Obama in, and he got in. I mean, we didn't have this bad of a violence. I just think it's just new territory. Again, not a career politician in. So people can't really guesstimate exactly what Trump is going to do, because they've been able to do that, because if they follow the career of some of these politicians, you kind of have an idea of how they think and what they're going to try and push for and what they're going to be against. Like if you followed Obama through his years as Senate, you kind of have an idea of what he agrees with and what he disagrees with. Same way with Bush, when, not Bush, but yeah, just any politician that's ran. You could always check how they were when they were. There's a worse president in the Philippine Islands, with no control. Who is the president in the Philippine Islands? Because the last time I was in the Philippines, I was 7 years old. I was there when that volcano erupted, and me and my family were evacuated out of Clark Air Base, and that was the last I ever stepped foot in the Philippines. I didn't support Obama, but I accepted it when he was elected. It's funny because I actually supported Obama on some of the issues that he was talking about. Like, again, I'm not partial to one side. I just look for the person that I resonate with and that is trying to do things that I agree need to be changed, altered, fixed to make this country better. But my my thoughts and opinions are not always right. You know, for what I think could be changed or could be fixed, to some other people, they can think that it doesn't need to be fixed. Neither one of us are right and neither one of us are wrong. But I just don't like the fact when people act out of violence because of what one person thinks. I should never have to fear thinking the way that I do, speaking the way that I do, and my actions. I should never have to fear that I'm going to be hurt physically, or if my children are around me, they're going to get hurt physically just because of what I supported. You know, which is funny because a lot of people always scream about that their free speech is trampled on, and then they go out and do the same thing. Very hypocritical to scream out that the government is trying to take away their free speech, but then you, as a citizen, as a person, is taking away the freedom of speech and the for a person to freely think away from another citizen. It's like, it's hypocritical to think that way. Anyhow, if you haven't seen the video, it's not my most recent one because I did one today about Best Buy's Black Friday sales. If you guys didn't peep that video, it's there, but it's the video before that. I'm going to end this broadcast. Thank you guys for coming in and expressing your thoughts and opinions. I really appreciate it. And I'm glad that there was no arguments breaking out in the chat, that everyone was pretty cool about it, because that was like my number one thing. I don't like when people argue in the comment section. I think everyone has a right to express freely what they think about anything, whether it's the technology that I talk about here on the channel or tidbits like this, political. I don't really touch with religion because there's countries that have gone to war over religion, so that's an even more touchier subject. But I really do appreciate all of you guys for being this cool. You guys are awesome. And that's why I feel like that I can make videos like this and talk like this. You guys are more than just, you know, those who subscribe to my channel. You guys are my digital world family that I feel like I can openly come and talk to you guys. And whether you guys agree with me or disagree with me, there's no like outburst of rage of hate. That's what makes you guys so much awesome. So just remember that if your day is good or bad tomorrow, just remember you're an awesome person, because you just are. I said so. You guys are awesome, all of you. So I'm gonna go. You guys should too, because it's pretty late. Thanks for checking out this broadcast. And as always, you know, spread the love, not the hate. Much love. Aloha.